mentally challenged, the smart side of Krazy. That thought came to me when someone commented one of my videos and referred to an individual as not being too bright. I hear that quite often, primarily among the black community, referring to each other as crazy or retarded or someone that have a mental issue, although no one have the credentials to diagnose anyone. We have to really be careful because a lot of people which we refer to as crazy or that have a mental issue, we have to be careful because they may just be smarter than you. They just might be more intelligent than you, even in their craziness. They might just be more knowledgeable and educated than you. In the past, I shared a story of someone that I used to work with. I used to work with people that were mentally challenged. And I'm going to call him a subject. Not a patient, but a subject. This particular person, when you look at him, when you read his records, you would think that this person is crazy. So I had my thoughts and opinions about this person. I always treated him with respect. And I spoke about him in a video of the past, and for some reason he always thought I was a Muslim. And he used to always ask me, if I was going to the mosque. And I was telling him that I wasn't a Muslim. But for some reason he had in his mind that I was a Muslim. Maybe he saw something that I didn't see. Maybe he knew something that I didn't know. So one day, now let me describe this guy to you. He was an older white man. He dyed his hair orange, brown, yellow. It was just frizzed all over his head. Wasn't combed like somebody just took their hands and rubbed it all over his head. Standing straight up. Going all with your wear. He drooled. So he wore this dirty t-shirt. He's got a big gut and he drooled. The nicest guy in the world. But I never really had a conversation with this man. I only went according to what I saw and from the little bit we spoke. So one day his alarm went off in his apartment. It sounded in my apartment at the time. And I had to be about, 23, 24 at the time. So I answered the alarm, knocked on the door, no one answered. Took my key, went in, announced myself. He wasn't home. His cat pulled the emergency cord in his apartment. But when I walked in, I was floored. Because the way he looked did not match his apartment at all. This guy had classical music playing at the right levels. It wasn't too loud, wasn't too soft. It was just perfect. The magazines he had laid out on his table neatly was Omni and Psychology Today. Those are the magazines that I used to read. And I'm looking at this and I looked around his apartment, looked around his crib, and I'm like, this place is laid out, right? So then it sparked some type of curiosity in my mind. So, checked out the apartment. It was clear. Cat pulled the cord. I walked back out, locked his apartment up. So one day he saw me passing in the hallway. He said to me, he said, "I bet you think that I'm crazy, don't you?" And I'm like, "No, why would you say that? I wouldn't." But in my mind, I did, because I had my own preconceived thoughts about this individual person because of what I saw with my eyes. And everything that we see with our eyes is not really what it is. Your eyes can play tricks on you, right? You think that you know, but in reality, you don't know nothing, because you go according to your eyes and what you hear other people say, other people's opinion. So I'm like, no. I said, no, why would you think that? Then he started laying out his resume to me. Passed the bar exam. He was a lawyer by trade, had an engineering degree, had all his businesses. Come to find out, the man was wealthy. So I'm like, what happened? Now, keep in mind, all of this stuff is not just because he said it. This is also in his records, okay, which I had access to. So I had asked him what happened. He said, well, I was practicing law, going to school, and trying to run my businesses at the same time. And he just, I guess, blew a fuse. He just overdid himself. And that's what a lot of people do in life. They take on so much. They try to get so much accomplished in such short period of time that they outdo themselves. It's just like when you go and you buy a space heater. And you bring that space heater home and you plug it into the wall and you turn it on and it runs for about a few seconds and then all the lights go out. It was too much. So you blew a fuse. That's how it is with people every single day that we refer to as crazy. Without really sitting down, talking to this person, listening to what this person has to say, without allowing our emotions to take over and get in the way. It's like the movie Silence of the Lamb. And I'm sure many of y'all had already seen that movie, Silence of the Lamb, where this man was in a psych ward. They had him barricaded, handcuffed, everything. But he was very smooth talking, right? But yet, Hannibal Lecter had a brilliant mind. Had a very brilliant mind. But he was a cannibal. He ate people. He ate human flesh. But see, they called him crazy. They labeled him or diagnosed him with a mental disorder because he was a serial killer. He planned out his victims, he killed them, and then he ate them. That's no different than what people do today. A lot of lack of moral values today, things that people adopt a part of their lifestyle today that wasn't accepted in the past, but today is popular and everybody's doing it. Even in the DSM, the psychology book, as a mental disorder, but yet today it's normal, aka homosexuality, transgenderism, not just that. So I don't want some of y'all thinking that I'm just attacking these people. But if you look in the psychology books and see what the psychology books have to say about that, but yet this is something that people adopt to themselves every single day. Think of what people do during sexual acts. Humans licking the feces of other humans. Anal sex. Some people refer to it as tossing the salad. But yet, that's norm to a lot of people. And they don't see themselves as having a mental disorder. You take people that is into animals to the point where they feel they need to marry or even have sexual relations with an animal, bestiality. But yet they view that as being normal. Or pedophiles. They're starting and making steps to make that legal. But yet, you call someone that speaks a whole lot of sense because it goes against what you believe in and what you accept as truth. You say that they have a mental issue, but yet you fail to look at how you live your life. So we have to be extra careful who we call crazy or who we judge as having a mental issue. Because people that we label as crazy, that we label as not being too bright, are crazies that's a lot smarter than you. Think about that. Think about it, think about it, think about it, think about it. Now let's use Donald Trump as an example because that's a person that seemed to always pop up when you're not talking about him. So before someone mentions Donald Trump, I just want to say that when people say that Donald Trump have a mental issue, that he's psychologically impaired, but yet this is a billionaire that was able to maintain his businesses. He's very successful at his businesses. And since he's taken over as president of the United States, he's made changes that no other president was ever able to make. But yet they say he has a mental issue. They say that he's not too bright. But yet the stock market have been breaking numbers. And he's doing that while being attacked from every side. So I would love to sit down and talk to Donald Trump because I'm sure that Donald Trump have jewels, many jewels that he could share. He's got knowledge on how to run a business, on how to acquire wealth. And look at how the man maintained his family. Now, he's been through a couple of marriages or a few marriages. But even with that, look at how that man manages his lifestyle. But yet people say that he's crazy. But yet when you look at your life, you are in debt. You are asking for free stuff. You, in many cases, are at the bottom of the totem pole. But yet you're quick to point fingers and say someone is not too bright without taking a look in the mirror. See, most people don't really want to see their true selves. When they look in the mirror, they see people they want to be or they try to be, but never want to see themselves for who they are. There are people that bought that iPhone 10 and they took it back. They took it back because they say the camera scared them. Because when they took a selfie of themselves, they didn't like the details that camera was showing. It was only showing an image of you. But you didn't like that image because it showed every detail. And they said it was creepy. That was a person or persons that did not want to face reality of themselves. But yet these are some of the same people that will call you crazy or mentally deranged. So be extra careful who you refer to as crazy if you had not looked in the mirror at yourself and the conditions that you're content with living in. There's people that live in filth every single day when you walk inside your house. It's insane to walk in a public restroom and sit down where other people had been sitting without even cleaning the toilet off. But yet you don't mind the smell. You don't mind going in there, sitting down and doing your business. You don't mind that. See, you don't mind going out every weekend just getting lit or tore up or drunk. Pissy drunk at that, and then you come home and vomit. Make sense out of that. But yet you refer to someone else as being crazy and having a mental disorder. But yet you fail to look at your life. You lay down, you have children out of wedlock, and you say, what's wrong with having children out of wedlock? But yet you're not able to support those children. The father walked out and left you, and you have multiple baby daddies that none of them are doing anything for you nor those children. But yet you're still having babies, begging public assistance for more money. That, my friend, is a mental illness, because you would think that if you can't support one or two or three, why would you have 4, 5, and 6, knowing that you're going to struggle even more? Knowing that you like to hang out with your friends and you're not ready for motherhood or you're not ready for fatherhood. Make sense out of that. But you refer to other people as having a mental disorder. So be careful who you call crazy, because the crazy person that you refer to as crazy just may be a lot brighter than you. So feedback, tell me what you think, subscribe. I also have a Patreon account. I put the link down in the description box along with the PayPal link. Feedback, tell me what you think. Until next time, I'm fearless.